It was a very busy summer on the Fat Controller's railway. With the amount of heavy work meaning to be done, the engines were beginning to feel worn out. One particular morning, Percy was late. That day, he had a lot of trucks and cargo to collect, which made him feel very late and very exhausted. Cranky's criticisms towards him weren't helping much either.
These ships can't be kept waiting, they have important cargo. If they miss the tides, they'll be delayed in the docks. You should look up to the ships and show more respect. You are, after all, only little.
We've got too much work!
Then perhaps a lorry should do your job.
Percy was shocked. Later on, he arrived back at the sheds.
What's up, little Percy?
Percy then told the other engines what Cranky had said.
Oh, stuff and nonsense.
We engines run this island, as if a lorry will arrive and take over our duties. But what if a lorry does arrive?
I'm sorry to say, but one did end up arriving, along with 3 more. Cranky was delighted.
Hey you down there, your job's done now. These lorries are taking over. One of them wants to talk to you.
One of these lorries were very rude.
What's that steaming lump of scrap iron doing here? Be off with ya!
Scrap iron? Steaming scrap iron? Pah!
And Percy huffed away to collect his next train. Out of these 4 lorries, one of them stood out. Unlike the other 3, this one was painted blue, and thought the railway and the engines were quite nice. A little later, Percy met up with Thomas and James. Another lorry was being rude to them. Then, he saw Percy.
Oh look, it's a little green goblin on wheels. You'll be scrapped, you'll see.
Well, bust my boiler. What a horrid lorry.
Indeed! Disgusting!
Then, the blue lorry suddenly drove up to Thomas and James.
Huh! Are you here to insult us too?
The blue lorry was quiet at first. Then, he spoke up. I'm sorry about my brothers. They're a bit difficult. He then drove off to do his work. The 3 engines looked puzzled at each other. The next engine to meet a lorry was Toby.
Well, no wonder this railway's in a mess. You belong in a museum, not working in a quarry.
I might look old, but I'm still very useful.
Useful? Pah! Just you doodle off like the rest of you teapots.
Teapots?
Come on, Toby. Don't bother with him. We'll go to the flour mill instead.
But when they arrived at the flour mill, Toby was shocked to see 2 lorries. One of them was the blue lorry.
What are you doing here?
We 4 are doing your work now. You old steam kettles are going too slow. About time the more updated and superior forms of transport begin to take over.
The foreman spoke to Toby's driver.
I'm sorry. Times are changing, I'm afraid.
Toby might be old, but he's reliable. Come on, Toby. We'll go to the farms. They'll still use us.
Toby trundled sadly away. He didn't see, but the 4th lorry looked unhappy to have taken Toby's work away from him. The line ran through a narrow gorge, but vehicles had to tackle a steep and dangerous road. Toby travelled along the line at the bottom of the gorge. He was beginning to feel worried about being replaced again by the roads, just as he had on his old line. He then heard a horrible screeching noise. It was one of the Horrid lorries, swerving dangerously along the road, going as fast as he could.
Careless thing.
Then, the blue lorry that Toby also saw was driving up the hill safely, until he saw the other lorry.
Out of my way!
The blue lorry swerved out of the other lorry's way just in time, as it raced off the hill and smashed onto the ground. Toby was most shocked. The blue lorry was safe, but the other one wasn't. His driver had luckily jumped off before the crash, but he was badly bruised.
Rotten roads.
Later on the day, the wrecked lorry was taken to the docks. Percy looked at the lorry.
What's this lump of steaming scrap iron?
We'll be back in no time, so you can wipe that silly smile off your smoke box.
Ah!
Then, Butch the breakdown vehicle arrived. He was towing another hard lorry, covered from wheel to cab in flour and slightly dented.
What happened?
He was going too fast and had a nasty accident at the level crossing.
Not very useful now, are you?
Then James whistled excitedly.
They're bringing in the third lorry on the barge. Whatever happened to that one?
Stupid lorry didn't watch where he was going and fell straight to the sea.
Later, Thomas arrived. He looked at the 3 lorries and laughed.
Well, 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 the Brothers Grimm, smashed, broken, and sunk.
That is quite enough.
Everyone knew that voice. It was the Fat Controller.
Now then, I understand wanting to prove yourselves capable of the job, but this is not the way to achieve it.
The 3 hard lorries began to feel sorry for themselves.
From what I've heard, you 3 have been very careless with your work, and now instead of helping to make things more easier for the engines, you've just made things worse. You 3 have been nothing but rude to them, and I will not tolerate that.
Then, the blue lorry rolled up, with a very worried look on his face. I'm very sorry for all the chaos they cause. They always tend to be like that, and I'm really sorry for their actions.
Yeah, you should be.
Silence! Now then, as for you, what shall we call you?
I always thought that John was a nice name.
Ah, yes. So John here has proven to be very reliable and careful about his work, knowing to watch where he's going and not to race at dangerous speeds. Therefore, whilst you 3 will be sent back to the mainland, John here is now a proud part of my Shore-Door Railway.
Soon, Thomas had coupled up to the flatbed with the lorries and puffed them over to be loaded on the ship back to the mainland. They glared at John as he was making amends with Percy and Toby. They grumbled as they were loaded onto the ship. Percy watched as the 3rd lorry was being loaded.
Well, Cranky, what do you think of the lorries doing our jobs now?
Cranky looked up in embarrassment as he only muttered one thing.
They grumble too much anyway.